right, welcome to Magic Crossover presented by Starry. I'm your host, Kendra Douglas, alongside the one and only Moe Wagner. Mo, the fans wanted this.
Yes, sure do.
And I am the fan.
Sure did.
They wanted this.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here, finally.
I know, yeah.
Took you long enough to set this up.
How you been? How has the road trip been for you? How has just this year been for you so far?
Whew. No, it's been fun. I mean, it's a grind, especially that January, February stretch. Mm-hmm. But we have such a good group, not only players, staff around, you guys, obviously, that it makes it kind of easy. Mm-hmm. Even when you lose some games, you still want to come into the building, want to work, and it makes the grind more enjoyable for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So a big part of this podcast is we like to get to know the players outside of basketball. Like, what do you like to do? What are the fun things? You know, we want to get to know you a little bit more. So, I mean, for starters, like, who is Mo outside of the podcast, of the basketball court? Who is he?
That's a good question. Well, my life is pretty unspectacular outside the basketball gym in a way that I live with my brother. Mm-hmm. You guys might know him. And there's not much going on at the Wagner house. We have family over all the time. Right now it's our grandma. It's her birthday, by the way, today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Her birthday, my grandma and my mom. Yeah, and we just have a lot of family time. My brother and I are joking that it's like an Airbnb because the whole year people come over from Germany. Obviously, it's a very special situation for everybody involved, so we're trying to take advantage of it and have people come visit as much as possible. But really, it's not much going on, and Mo's kind of embracing that and enjoying that.
I like that, though.
Yeah.
Was it really important for you guys to kind of have that stable home for families? Because it seems like family is very big for you guys.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I think as soon as it became clear that we are going to play together, I think we wanted to live together just because we didn't spend a lot of time when I went to college and when he went to college. So there was a great opportunity to kind of make up for some time and then figure out if that's going to work out. You never know with brothers, you know, with family. At some point there comes a time where people kind of go separate ways organically as well. But it kind of worked out really well, and we enjoyed our time. And I mean, this business gets lonely sometimes. So you can only play basketball 4 or 5 hours a day, and then you get the other 19 to figure out, and to have somebody that you share these emotions with, that you go through these emotional roller coasters together through games. It's very helpful to just say it out loud and then kind of move on with your day.
So when you guys are going home, is it more of like a decompressing kind of, it's a relaxing type situation, or are you guys playing games still? Are you guys like chatting about life? Like, what is it like between living with your brother who, you see constantly now too?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you do piss each other off sometimes, but that's, normal. I think we've kind of found a good groove too of like staying away when we come home from work after practice and stuff. Everybody does his own thing, has his own routine. We're two different people as well, but then at the same time, like you said, we talk about it all the time. We talk about job, we talk a little smack about everybody else involved, and we've gotten very good this year at decompressing and not really taking work home. We don't really watch a lot of basketball.
Really?
Me personally, especially, I don't know how Franz handles this, but in my private time, I try to like watch all my clips and I watch basketball very intentionally and rarely as a fan anymore, just to get away from it, and because it's so emotional, and I'm a very emotional guy, so I don't want to take it to heart 24/7.
Yeah. So this year, because I noticed them too a little bit, you guys are coming up with a documentary. There's a documentary about
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw them coming into some of the media stuff. Tell me a little bit about that and what's going into that documentary. Yeah,
Franz and I aren't necessarily the public life-seeking creatures, so this was a pretty big step. And the reasoning for doing a documentary that's a little longer than probably common, it's about 2 years, a 2-year span. where we have people that we trust follow us. Obviously in context with the national team as well, with the World Cup and the Olympics, but also here living together in Orlando, playing together, and then what we really want to show is kind of more of the life off the court. And I would say there's kind of a missing context in Germany about basketball or professional athletes in general. And it's very harsh and about, okay, they make a lot of money, they're supposed to do that, they're machines, and people forget that those people have feelings, emotions too. They have family problems, girl problems, whatever it may be, just like everyone else. And we kind of trying to find that niche between, okay, these are athletes and humans as well. And it's not as much about our successful basketball careers, it's more about the people behind it. And it's really challenging us to be vulnerable. Which we still getting better at, but it's a process. Good thing that we have a couple years to figure it out.
So did the filming of the documentary start when you guys did the FIBA World Cup?
It started a little before that, so a year ago it started, and we're gonna do it till after the Olympics. We got somebody that gave us a lot of resources to do this thing, and we're very excited because we have people around that we trust and we feel like we can let in our private life.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and we are very blessed. Obviously, it's a very special platform to be brothers on this level. Obviously, you draw attention, and to be able to do that is a responsibility as well. And we see this as a very privileged situation that we want to use for others to take advantage of.
Going on Germany and speaking about that, what was it like for you kind of having to adjust and be a part of, the world here in the United States? And then was there any different changes that kind of hit you right away? Or was it kind of an easy transition coming here?
Well, it was easy in the terms of I loved it here. So, and I always wanted to come to America. I love the swag, the Letterman jacket, people, just, the feel on campus. I mean, I went to college, so it's that kind of swag I absolutely loved. So I embraced that totally. But there's definitely things that when you change countries that are challenging. I mean, people that you spend a lot of time with all of a sudden aren't there anymore, and you got to rely on FaceTime and calls and all that stuff. So you filter out people that you talk to, and it's two different separate worlds that you gotta kind of have to learn how to manage.
How important was your basketball team for you? Because, I mean, I got to see them a little bit at New York. So how important were they for your growth and just the bond you shared, because you knew you had to have that bond?
It was great. I mean, that's your family. That's the number one contact, social contact. I learned how to talk English at first from my teammates, just isn't necessarily great. But you spend more time in the locker room than you spend anywhere else. So obviously, deep connections with all of them from college still. And yeah, that's kind of how you learn. That's the biggest source of social interaction.
I feel like when we go on the buses, I hear you on the phone all the time talking to someone. Is that a ritual thing, or is it just the timing? What is it, and why is it important for you to kind of continue that?
Yeah, I've made a conscious effort to invest more, especially when I got out of that bubble college. I mean, in college you're kind of so worried about your own life, and you just do and just go minute by minute and just live, and it's a great life. But then once you hit the real world, you realize, oh, you actually need the other people that support your entire life. So I try to invest in those relationships as much as I can, and then. Yeah, it's mostly on game days. I just like to, find this good vibe and this good sweet spot between focus and also, I wouldn't say playfulness, but joy of life a little bit, and realize that it's a game that I'm playing, and don't get too tight, and talk to my family. And on days off, I rather put the phone down and don't want to hear about anything from anyone, just to get a day to decompress for myself. So that's kind of, I try to lighten it up on game days.
I like that though. That's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're focused as well.
Yeah.
But you got to invest in both and find that sweet spot a little bit.
You just talked about the grind, and it is a grind.
For sure.
This is my first year with you guys, and it is a grind. And
Oh.
seeing that grind nonstop. So I feel like it is very important to continue to keep that like a happiness and the joy, especially talking with your family. That's kind of the biggest thing you want to do.
100%. Well, and you also realize they watch and they're excited about it, and yeah, that does a lot to me when people tell us they're watching from wherever they are in the world, even though it's some somewhat irrelevant game in the middle of the season somewhere. You know, in America, it's really cool that people care.
If you weren't playing basketball,
Yeah.
do you have an idea of what you would want to do in life that's like, would you be in sports or would you do something different?
I'll be honest with you, I always have so much, I envy people at my age. I mean, now I'm starting to get a little older, but I envy people at my age, like coming out of college, that knew exactly what they wanted to do, because I was there not knowing what I wanted to do. And a lot of people back home, they're struggling with that. And I always had this privilege that I found my passion very, very early, that I could execute and put all my energy in, and obviously that gives you a lot in life. So I've always been very privileged in that sense. And I would be screwed if I didn't have sports. I always say I'd probably be like, I love kids, love being around kids, love being goofy, love being a kindergarten teacher of some sort, something like that. But I'm very happy that I don't have to worry about that for a while.
Oh my God, Laura, are we the same person?
Why? Do you like kids?
Be a teacher too.
Really?
Well, my patience isn't as high, so I'd be more like the guy that like takes care of the kids after school, you know.
You know?
Oh, like the after school.
Play soccer with them, and like everybody loves, and they don't want to go home because Mo's so awesome.
There you're good.
That's my vision.
And they're like,
Yeah.
Coach Moe is the best.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
they're like, we hate it. We hate it.
We hate the teachers. Yeah, all them. Mo is man.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you were going to be a soccer coach. That's what we're going to do.
Whatever it is, I mean, I coach them whatever, as long as it's not numbers and all that stuff and verbs, and I don't need that.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a subject.
Life.
There we go.
Life.
Life.
There you go.
Hey, that's actually probably
Life Coach Mo.
It's not like Coach Mo. I like it. So we just talked about soccer. Soccer's pretty big in Germany too.
Huge, yeah.
Do you keep up with it, or like is that a sport that you possibly could have wanted to play too?
I hope Franz hears this, because I always claimed that I could have played soccer.
Okay.
But it's I mean, there's a delusional Mo who says he would be an excellent soccer player, and then there's realistic Mo. I'm probably a little too tall and probably not as skilled as those guys and not as quick. But I used to play soccer and I loved it. And at some point I had to like decide whether I want to play basketball or soccer, because school got harder. And luckily I took basketball. But soccer is huge in Germany. It's hard to keep up. Because obviously frequent games and the time change makes it so complicated. I don't even know what day it is today. So I hardly keep up with our schedule, so to know their schedules is difficult as well. But a little vaguely I know what's going on, and I watch it when I'm home.
You're traveling so much now. Like, we are on a 5-game, 10-day road trip right now. When do you get the opportunity to just go back home for just leisure or just to relax?
It's an interesting question, because I mean, you got to balance that a little bit, and I've had different phases in my career, how I treated home, but usually I probably go home right after the season. I always say I'm going to do something else, and then I just want to go home. Even though it's still cold. I've never made the playoffs, so it's still April, and it's always cold still in Berlin. It's nasty, but I mean, it's just home, you know how that is, you know? You just want to see your friends. Kind of go back to that environment and go from there. So with the national team too, that gives me the opportunity to go back again in the summer. So I'm usually there twice a year during the summers, find ways to train there as well, and kind of connect family and home with basketball.
You said find ways to train. How is it different? Is it like harder or like easier?
It's a lot different, because obviously the clubs over there, they're busy. They have youth teams. The gym, they don't have the resources like we have here. You can't just drive with a car somewhere. It's a big city, and then go to the gym, knock out your lift and your basketball workout, and go home. It's a little bit more of a scramble. So every once in a while you'll see me with my basketballs on the bike riding through Berlin, and it's a little bit more of an adventure than here, I would say, but it's kind of the charm of the city as well. You know, that's the swag over there, and we enjoy that. We embrace that, and it's fun.
That's kind of cool. I feel like it's like a normal Moe. Like you're like normal Moe in Berlin. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I will be surprised what we do in this. I mean, it's just such a different lifestyle than in Orlando. You know, you don't really. My parents, we don't have a car. You take the subway and you ride your bike. You walk everywhere. It's something I miss a lot about Europe. It's just like kind of going along your day, like figure it out, because everything is right there and you can just walk around, and the infrastructure is just so different here.
Did your swag kind of change too when you came here? Is that kind of like how you, or when was it? When was that turning point where you're kind of like investing more in like, you know, the looks and the vibes and the drip as we
Well, I don't necessarily love doing that for others. I'd rather do that for myself, I'll be honest with you. So comfort is a big piece of it. And then also mental comfort. I'm never trying to like make a statement or anything. I never wear stuff I don't feel comfortable with. So yeah, I don't really, I always try to like kind of find that sweet spot between swaggy and comfortable. I'm lazy as well, so it's nothing special, but I've kind of found my groove a little bit in what I like and what not, and I think that comes with the years.
Well, I like the shoes.
Yeah, shoes we've had. Yeah.
I mean, yours are
Coincidentally,
yes, yours are massively bigger than mine,
That's
but we still have
Same
the
shoe.
same vibe. Same vibe.
Yeah.
So I have a podcast. There are two brothers who are in the NFL that have a podcast. Could there possibly be a day where we see two brothers in basketball house?
Franz and I talked about it sometimes, but yeah, it would be like a format where Franz would be the narrator and I would be the caller, you know, just like he would have to keep me in check and like he would have to be the one telling the story, and then, but it would be entertaining, but I think give us a couple years maybe, I might have to convince him. But also nowadays, no, if everybody has a podcast, there's so much to listen to, so I don't really know if people care as much about our opinion, and maybe sometimes I think it's good if I keep my opinion to myself as well, so.
I don't know. Like, if it's anything like Travis and
I mean, they did a great job. Obviously, totally different platform.
Yeah.
But the stuff Jason Kelsey did on Travis's game, I see myself doing that at Franz's game at some point for sure.
For real?
In a suite, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I would do.
They're gonna be like security. It's like no, it's just Mo. It's just Mo. Like,
hopefully,
who's the man with the shirt off?
Hopefully, like 15 years down the road. So I don't have to worry about
like
that.
waving your shirt.
Yeah.
I love that though. That just shows the support of being a big brother.
Oh, 100%. I mean, what he has done is incredible. To watch it as an older brother, it does something to you emotionally. Sometimes I try to keep that away a little bit and just like treat him as my teammate. And then once the game is over, as my brother, because it gets complicated if you get into it emotionally too much. I have enough to worry about myself. So, no, it's awesome, and we're so happy about this whole thing.
Yeah. So before I let you go, what are some of your personal goals outside of basketball that you might have for yourself?
Honestly, at some point, I just want to like. I put a lot in my career already. I've worked my entire life on basketball. Yeah, I really love it. I'm excited to get to a point where I can say I've put everything I have into it and focus on my family, whatever that might look like. Hopefully be able to put my toes in the sand somewhere and peacefully say this was my career and I can kind of look ahead with my life, go ahead. Because I've just worked so much and you invest so much into that I'm looking forward to that part of my life as well. But again, I hope that's long time down the road. But once I have my family and I'm like I'm gonna try to be very to myself, and living a public life and having everybody have an opinion about you is not always easy as well. So looking forward to kind of having a more 9-to-5 personal vibe to my life. I'm very excited about.
Life coach Mo, everybody.
There you go. I mean, everybody's different. Some people love that stuff, and there's a time I loved it too. But the older I get, the more I appreciate being able to go to a coffee store without people knowing who you are, or yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was a good way to end that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Moe, for joining me, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Right? And thanks for listening to Magic Crossover presented by Starry, and we will see you on the next episode.